Sometimes we feel that we're failing as a Christian because we have doubt or frustration in our life. Pastor Willett says that faith is 51%. It's 1% more than not having faith. We see a good example of this with David. Psalms 3, David starts with being frustrated and recognizing that he has great battles around him. He says, many there be that are against me. In verse 2, he says, there is no hope, or many say that there is no hope for me. But then in verse 3, he recognizes who God is. He recognizes what God can do for protection. He then puts his faith in God. And in verse 5, he said, I laid me down and slept. I awake, for the Lord sustained me. We sometimes want to say, well, that's because God took care of his battles. But in the next verse, he says, there's still thousands and thousands that are against me. But then he goes on and continues to recognize who God is in his life. And in verse 8, he said, salvation belongeth to the Lord. He recognized where God could remove all the frustration and everything that he had because God was his salvation. You're going to face battles. You're going to have frustrating times. Sometimes the devil is going to convince you that there is no hope. But what you have to do is recognize that God is your protection and recognize that God can sustain you so much that you can sleep in the midst of the battle and allow God then to be the God of your salvation.